We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. We're the smartest people. We're the most loyal people. And you know what I really am happy about? Because I've been saying it for a long time. 46% with the Hispanics. 46%. Number one with Hispanics.
At a very young age, a long time ago, I learned the only things in life that were inevitable were birth, death, overrated scotch, clowns who were not evil, no matter what anybody said, and nothing beating a good pair of well-worn cowboy boots. Here we are right now, though, being told by the so-called experts that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are inevitable in November, and you better learn to stay in step, young man and young lady, or else. To some, sounds like a bad-fitting pair of boots and an evil clown lurking in the background. So let's begin there and welcome in a new pair of contestants for the political animal where the only thing inevitable is common sense. From the right, former chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, former senior advisor to Rand Paul's 2016 presidential campaign, Steve Munisteri. From the left, veteran speechwriter and Democratic strategist with Catamount Strategies, LLC, Christian Hanley. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. And Steve, I'm going to begin with you. I have in front of me news stories. Donald Trump is inevitable. Here's another one. Donald Trump is not inevitable. All right, Steve, wait a minute. After what happened in Nevada, which one are we supposed to believe?
Well, Donald Trump certainly is in a strong position, but he's not inevitable. To put this in context, Texas on Tuesday has more delegates with 155 than all the states that have come before it, including Nevada, South Carolina, New Hampshire, and Iowa. And even after Tuesday, there will only be 725 delegates picked, which are only about a quarter of the total delegates you need. And I'm old enough to have worked in the '76 Reagan campaign, and I can tell you that Ronald Reagan lost every primary and caucus from Iowa in January until May when we had the Texas primary, except for one, the North Carolina primary. And despite having lost all those states, he put together a win streak, and it was neck and neck and virtually a tie going into the convention. So there's still a long way to go in terms of delegates, but Donald Trump is the front runner and the favorite.
Absolutely. Christian, let's talk about this from the left. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember a time back in 2007 when we were told that Hillary Clinton was inevitable. Didn't quite happen then. We were told, and I remember sitting back on this chair in October being told, inevitable. Bernie Sanders rises, not inevitable. Now we all of a sudden hear she is inevitable again. Make some sense of this for us, will you, Christian?
Well, with Trump, I sincerely hope he's not inevitable. I mean, I couldn't agree more that his wins up until this point have been relatively small wins. Texas coming up on Super Tuesday holds more delegates than all the prior races combined. So I sincerely hope he's not inevitable. I mean, from where I'm sitting, my hope is that there are a sufficient number of Republican primary voters in the upcoming states who have enough common sense to say, you know what? I see why he's popular. I see that he can really get a crowd stirred, but it really is all passion. It's all talk. But do we really want this man with his hands on the nuclear codes? And I think there are enough primary voters who say that no, they don't want that.
What about Hillary, though? Because, again, let's get down to the left side of things. We've been told before that Hillary Clinton is completely, undeniably walk away from it inevitable, and now it seems she's back in that chair.
Right, and she could head for a repeat of 2008. I do not believe anyone at this point who says that they have the Democratic side figured out. I truly don't believe that. I think that at this point either candidate could win. So Hillary, I think, should be cautiously optimistic. I think that she has a strong chance of winning, but I don't think Bernie Sanders should be underestimated either.
But is she making another mistake? And I want to bring this up. She took part in a Facebook Q&A with thegrio.com. She was asked how she would engage white voters on issues involving racial justice. She said, in part, we need to recognize our privilege and practice humility rather than assume that our experiences are everyone's experiences. Christian, I got to tell you, this blew up on my Facebook page and a lot of social media where a lot of white people are saying, excuse me just a moment here, don't you think that everybody should be practicing some humility and not just taking shots at white people alone?
Well, with all due respect, I think that might be a bigger call to action on the right. I'm not sure that as many left-leaning white people have as great of a reaction to that. Some certainly will. I do not deny that. But, it would not be a bad thing for white people to have a certain sense of humility. And I'm not seeing as nearly as great of a reaction on our side of the things right now.
Steve, would it also, though, and again on the other side of things, be just as well said that everybody needs to talk about a little humility here in this country right now?
Well, first, I think we need to talk to each other and find out between communities what the grievances are and start talking to each other in a way that has mutual respect. And I think that's a very poor choice of words and a very poor choice of a way to do things. Having said that, and having worked in the Rand Paul campaign where a key issue was inequality of sentencing, there are some problems in some communities, for example, where African American males are getting much longer sentences for the same crimes than Caucasian males. And so all people in all communities who are interested in a sense of fairness and fair play should address those issues. But to know about those issues, communities need to talk to each other. But what we shouldn't be doing is using language which may be insulting to each other, and I think that's what the Secretary Clinton did.
I'm going to go off on that, but I only got 45 seconds left. Question for both of you. The Latino vote, which we talked about and heard a little bit coming in here. We've got people saying, wait a minute, it's only a very small amount of Nevada Latinos who are Republican. And as a matter of fact, Christian, there are some people saying more Latinos are Democrats more than anybody else. So that's why you really can't say that, Mr. Trump, you're number one with Latinos.
Right. I think that, Mr. Trump, he had a great night in Nevada, but the numbers that I'm hearing out of Nevada right now regarding Latino support for Trump, I haven't seen anything credible. Of course, one of the big issues with Nevada right now is the fact that the caucus went so, frankly, sloppy. It was chaotic, and there were stories coming out of Nevada about certain individuals not having proper ID and, of course, voting twice for the same candidate. So at this point, I'm not sure quite what to say about Nevada. I think it'll be days until we have a clear picture about what happened there. Indeed, I have to agree with you. Unfortunately, we're all out of time, and what you just gave us is a lot more sauce for the goose in these discussions as well. Christian Hanley, Steve Munisteri, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for joining us. We're going to have you back again because, as I said, we do common sense here. All right. It drives America and the world, and someone new will be in the White House deciding the future of energy very soon. But do any of these candidates really understand what's at stake? We'll find out next when we continue right here on the fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hard Line.